Oh, my old life back in Stark. We had some exciting adventures, him and I. Actually, he's part of the reason I ended up here. I last saw him in the winter of 1934.
But that's almost 300 years ago.
Yeah. Funny, isn't it? And I'm sure he doesn't look a day older than he did back then. The handsome devil.
Well, if I'm going to accept magic in parallel worlds, I might as well accept people living 300 years.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I'm only 46. I arrived here about 15 years ago, but I left Stark in 1934. Between the worlds, where you dream time has little meaning, I was trapped, you see, for quite a while.
For 300 years?
Time went by pretty fast. It didn't seem so bad at the time, but now that you mention it, 300 years, quite disconcerting, really. Quite disconcerting.
Cortez said to look you up when I wanted to go back home, to Stark.
Now, why would he say that? I'm not a shifter, and I don't know any magic. I'm sorry, Miss Ryan, but you'd be better off asking the Sentinel priests for assistance.
Already did. They said I was on my own, that they couldn't help me.
Bloody typical. Those reactionary fools wouldn't extend a hand to help a drowning man if it violated the principles of their bloody balance. But I can't think why Manny would tell you to visit me in order to shift home. It just doesn't make sense.
How did you end up here in Mercuria?
That's quite a story. I won't bore you with the details, but suffice it to say, I was always somewhat of an adventurer. The promise of virgin territory untouched by civilization held great sway with me in my youth, as did the idea of a highly spiritual state of mind. The occult, magic, karma. I was born in 1902 in Boston. By the time I was 17, I'd put that life behind me. I spent the next 3 years at sea, and then I wandered around Europe for a time. In the early 30s, the 1930s, of course, I found myself in India working as a journalist. That's where I met Manny, and that's where I first heard of Arcadia. I was amazed and quite skeptical at first, but the thought of a whole new world to see and magic? I was a fool, of course, but who knew where my curiosity would bring me?
So what happened in India?
I've tried to forget about it, to be honest. If I could go back and convince myself not to... but I still wouldn't have listened, of course. The unknown attracts. I ended up in Tibet in the winter of 34, wading through snow up to my chest, thinking for sure that this was it, and I was going to die. Manny pulled me out of that one, thank God. I spent 3 months in a monastery before pushing on into the void. There's only one way for a non-shifter to pass through the divide, and it's not an easy road to take. Now, if you don't mind, I'd prefer not to talk about the past anymore. There's more than enough to worry about in the present.
I should get going.
Very well. You're welcome back at any time, Miss Ryan. Any time.
Thank you, sir. I'll remember that. Sign this, please. It's just to confirm that I made the delivery.
Certainly.
It's Brian Westhouse's signature.
Hold on one second, Miss Ryan. I just remembered something. It's such a long time ago, I'd almost forgotten, but Manny did give me something that might be of interest.
What is it?
It's a pocket watch. Manny gave it to me the last time I saw him. I never quite understood why, but maybe you can tell me.
Did he say anything about it?
He said that when his heart started beating again, he would know. It would be like a message in Morse code, a beacon. Damn watch never worked, and the winding mechanism is broken, so it's probably not worth much. You're welcome to it if it's any help.
Thanks. It's an antique pocket watch. It's not ticking. The knob used for winding the watch seems to have broken off, and there's only a tiny hole left. It's a pushpin. If I insert this pin carefully into the hole, like so, and then slowly wind it... It worked! It's ticking! I did it! It's a shift! I can go home!
By God, it's a shift. I haven't seen one for ages.
Why don't you come back with me, Mr. Westhouse? You could say hello to your old friend, Manny.
If I tried to step through that, Miss Ryan, I would suffer a most unpleasant experience. And I would be lost in the between forever. Besides, I built this house with my own two hands. I wouldn't want to leave it to these barbarians. And what does your Stark have to offer me? This world is more recognizable to me now. Now you go ahead, Miss Ryan. Go back. And don't let your curiosity of the unknown tempt you into making another shift.
Thanks for your help.
Say hello to Manny for me. Tell him I'm doing all right. And then I said, thanks.
Cortez. Oh, God, it's real. It's all true. I saw it. I saw the other world. Arcadia. Either I'm going crazy or you were right about everything.
Let's hope for the latter, mi amiga? So I gather your trip was a success.
Success? My whole world has been turned topsy-turvy, so I don't think success is the right word. Nothing about it makes sense. The fact is, I don't believe in magic.
The sun does not need you to believe in it to rise in the morning, señorita. You have seen the truth with your own two eyes. I can do nothing more to convince you. It is up to you now.
Well, do I have a choice? I have to believe at least some of it. My life wouldn't make much sense otherwise.
You are a true skeptic, April. Está bien. We need your kind to balance the hopeless romantics like myself.
What happens now?
The minstrel told you about the balance, about Stark and Arcadia.
A man named Tobias. He was called the Vestrum, I think. Vestrum Tobias.
Ah, so Tobias made Vestrum. Que bien, good. I knew he would go far when I first met him years ago. He was just an instrument then, a student of the balance, but he was smart and resourceful. So you know what is going on with the balance.
Tobias told me that the Guardian was missing and that the balance was failing. He said this would bring chaos into both worlds.
As we are already seeing, your dreams, your nightmares, they are part of these. You sense chaos more keenly than most, but even they are beginning to notice that things are not as they should be. Like last night.
What about last night?
What you saw, You were not alone this time. There were others. And they saw the same thing. Not nightmares anymore. Real. The first sign of the damage chaos can do. The divide is being breached. It is not yet time for the worlds to be united. A breach could prove catastrophical.
Who are you really, Cortez?
Excuse me?
People knew you over there in Arcadia. Tobias. He didn't know you by your real name, but he did know you. And Mr. Westhouse, he knew you too, as Chavez, but several hundred years ago.
So my secrets are being revealed, are they?
I wouldn't say that, because you're still a mystery to me. More so.
Good. You see, señorita, mystery is important. To know everything, to know the whole truth is dull. There is no magic in that. Magic is not knowing. Magic is wondering about what and how and where.
I'd settle for the truth, just to be able to know you. Because, honestly, I don't mean this in a bad way. You scare me, Cortez. I'm afraid of you.
And you are not the only one, mi amiga. I'm sorry, but whatever it is about me that mystifies you, it will have to stay a secret. There are things even you should not know.
Gee, thanks. That really helped.
Perdóname. Perhaps later, when we are certain of what the future holds, okay? I think I can promise you that, Señorita Ryan. Later. But for now, we must speak of more important matters.
You helped me back, didn't you?
To shift? See? The power is yours, yes? But for now, you need me to focus your powers to call forth your dreams.
Dreams?
Yes. To travel from one world to the next, you must pass through the world of dreams. It is the only way. You are capable of opening a shift on your own, but you might not be able to.
What do you mean?
The power, the magic is within you. And when you sleep, sometimes you open the portal without even being aware of it. But when you're awake, it's more difficult. With practice, you will do it.
I don't think I want to do it.
You must. The worlds depend on it.
So what do I do?
We must work together, April. I can't do it alone, and neither can you.
But what exactly is it that we have to do?
4 things. We must find the lost guardian, we must locate the gateway to his realm, and the disc that is the key to his tower, and we must do what we can to curtail and defeat the Vanguard.
How are we going to find the Guardian?
The moment he surrendered his throne and left his realm, he stepped back into our world, this world, Stark. This is where he was born, and so this is where he must return to.
But he could be anywhere, right?
This city has power, April. Not magic, but the opposite of magic. And it draws people to it like flies to an open fire. All the pieces of the puzzle come together here. You, me, the Vanguard, the Guardian. I can guarantee you that he's here. But where exactly I do not know. I think maybe the Vanguard do. I think they may have him.
If they have him, how are we going to get him back? And why do they need him? Why do we need him?
He left his realm, but he's the last Guardian, and only he can open the doorway back to his realm to let his successor through. The Vanguard knows this, but what they don't know, yet, is how to get there.